let me pull up my live dashboard. Live dashboard it is. Okay, so got some stuff that we gotta finish today, or do. Can't quite promise that it'll be finished. So, create a new piece. It's probably going to be the same size. Something like this. Maybe even just a little bit more. Canvas size. Here we go. And yeah, I should probably just restart Photoshop. It has been a while since I did. Okay, so I'm going to save this into the concept art attic because I would like to work on the attic. Okay. Yep. Sure thing. Whatever you say. Things crashing and whatnot. Hey, Gizmo's here. How's it going? How's your day? I found a driver for this tablet that seemed to have been a reference from God knows which place, but it seems to be working. It seems to be behaving just a little bit better than the other driver I was using. So, you know, now I can at least kind of leave the tablet unused and kind of come back to it, and it will still be functioning. My day is also good. I didn't do a stream yesterday. We had friends and family over. Actually, we had a family member from Chicago staying over for the weekend. So I kind of, kept company and would hang out. So, fun times. But I was kind of just really tired to do a live stream by the end of the day. In fact, I actually just went to sleep at 9:30, almost just 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. It was just, I don't know. It's probably because I'm just kind of now witnessing the extent of the damage that I did by completely neglecting sleep schedule and just going to sleep whenever I felt extremely just tired, and doing nighttime streams and just all kinds of bad stuff. But anyways. Here we are. What do I want to pull up? Yes, 3/4 view, aerial view of the house. So that's that. And yeah. So this will be the attic, and I'm going to try something a bit different. I'm going to try to actually paint the attic instead of doing line art sketching, and let's see if I can kind of get the idea of what to do here. And I'm going to be using the soft brush instead of the hard brush that I use, because I probably just either I haven't gotten the hang of the brush type, because in order to have, like, you see how the strokes layer on top of each other, and that ends up making the painting look very, very liney. So either I have to kind of learn to use the pressure control like this and try to do like precise transitions, but this would be actually more like painting. Or I figured I would probably want to use, you know, a soft brush. You can see the gradient is a little bit easier to work with. So, oh yeah, so either I have to kind of learn how to really precisely control the brush, or I'm going to basically, instead of having transparency, I'm going to have to do this full color right off the bat. So I'd have to be like, you know, red, and then pick a slightly darker hue, and then just kind of, you know, get that in between area, and, you know, just sort of actually paint. And I guess this would be a good point to start using like the faded transition. But, you know, apparently there's a lot of different ways to paint, and I am basically just grazing the surface. But for now, I'll use the basic faded brush and see what I can do with it. So, new layer. Let me do. So this is going to be a bit of a weird one, because I'm going to be drawing the perspective directly on the thing. So if I'm gonna take a look at this size, so this thing is pretty wide. So let's say maybe generally this kind of shape, and obviously we have the rooftop. But this is the wall. I guess I should probably, you know, use the fade on for this. And I'm going to change the background to a gray color. Here we go. So, yeah, I have been extensively looking into acquisition of some more music-related hardware. And what I mean by that is I need to buy quite a few things in order to, like, my plan is to take my music to a live stage. But I can't just take, you know, I can't just take a laptop with my music album and a basic controller and just, you know, click a few buttons in order to switch the tracks, because visually, you know, it gets the job done. So if I was in a club, there would be a separate guy for visuals who would be taking cues from the music, and I would be just kind of switching tracks and maybe cue a few effects in and there, but let's Instagram. But if I'm doing this alone, if I'm taking my music out alone, I will have to figure out a pretty creative way of presenting the gig visually. Let's see. See, it really pisses me off that I can't access Instagram completely off the website. No, I don't want to log in with Facebook. I have a login. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't even freaking know. Anyways, there's a couple of core pieces of hardware that I have to get. For the most part, I need a PA system. And what a PA system is... Whoop. Okay, so that's working again. What a PA system is essentially your basic mixer and speaker set. And these are specifically designed for like prolonged use, live setting, very loud output. And there's a few different options out there, but they mostly range up to like over $1,000 bucks. And I'm talking about all-in-one system, so it has a mixer included and has the speakers included. And I really want to take the music out to the in the public eye, which is why I'm kind of looking into what kind of locations have open mic nights where I can take this. But here's the thing: I will need to first of all take my helmet with me, because it's a heavily visual piece, and I'm going to have to make my own visual. I'm going to have to make my own visual hardware, and what that means is I'm going to have to buy. I'm basically going to have to engineer my own visual aids, so to speak. So lasers, lights, all that jazz. Because were you in the stream when I was looking up stuff after I finished drawing something, by any chance? Was that you in the stream? Gizmo? Or was it something? Oh, I think it was Southpaw, actually. I think it may have been Southpaw. Yeah, I think it was Southpaw, actually. I was looking up at these cheap strobe lights and cheap laser show, like laser entertainment devices. They have very minimal control to them, but they get the job done. So, considering that I know how to program microcontrollers, I can, in the same mechanic as the helmet, I will be able to program a microcontroller to manually turn the things on and off, which is basically most of the controls that I actually need. And I will need... What else? What else will I need? I should really have this perspective piece on like a separate layer. Mostly lasers, lights, like lasers and lights, and maybe a fog machine. But the fog machines can be acquired for fairly cheap. So that's a good thing. With the whatchamacallit, about $50, and just a bunch of fluid. So that's not too big of an expense. But I am really tempted to put this on my credit card, and I really don't want to. There's absolutely no sense in doing it. But I'm just kind of not really making too much progress with this stuff. Here we go. I'm just kind of patiently waiting until I pay off the last of my debt with the credit card, because then extra money will be able to be used towards towards hardware. But oh, son of a bitch, wrong layer. But as mentioned, let me get some more lines in here. There's visual hardware, the PA system, and I do need to get myself another synth. Simply because I will need more hardware that I can run live. So I'll need to invest into something that can pull up presets. And that's basically when I can engineer my own sound and come back, basically engineer my own sound on the synth and have it saved on the synth so that when I come back or when I go live, I will be able to have the PC that's controlling all the visuals also pull up all the presets that I'm currently performing with. So it's not like presets that I'm using pre-created sounds. It's the ability to pull up the sounds that I've created when I was making some track. And I'm looking into the locations with open mic nights so that I could actually take this whole rig there. So yeah, actually, I think after this paycheck, somebody asked, I had people ask me to cover some shifts, so I'll have a little bit of extra cash lying around after I send some money to my parents, and that will drop down my credit card to like sub 100 level, I think, or maybe like 120. It's a 260 right now, so I've got $60 lying around here, and the paycheck leftovers. Wow, there are so many ants in this season. Man. But anyways, I was asking on the forums for a nice list of synths, and I kind of got a general gist. It's probably going to be about $300 to $500 for a decent synthesizer, and these are some of my choices. This ranges from $300 to $700. So can't use the whatchamacallit. I can't use frick, what is it called? I can't use software synths because that will be taxing on the computer, and that's when you like really pushing your computer in a live setting. You start getting crackles, and it's just not good. Crackles, pops, it's like a cereal commercial right there. Which looks bad when you perform. That's like a pretty bad thing. So this is why I have the music side handled. I have my own style that I'm performing. I just need visual hardware. And visual hardware is expensive, which is why I'm going to be basically building my own. Some of the stuff is fairly simple to make. Like there are these LED lights that are super bright. And they're like you... Oh shit, is it raining? Oh wow, it is raining. Wow. But anyways, like you would usually calculate the brightness of something in lumens, which is kind of like a light unit. Like if you're buying a projector, it would say this projector is so and so many lumens. So you can get some pretty bright LEDs. When I say LEDs, like they're not, at that point, they're not like tiny LEDs. They're pretty big. They're like a size of... what's a good universal measurement tool that's not bananas? They're like, yeah, they're like the size of like a hole in a CD disc. That's the size of the optic and, you know, with the crystal inside of the optic. So they're pretty damn bright, which is effective, and looks effective in the live setting. But just like, did you see the video, or did I send you the video for the helmet? The helmet mechanic? I was posting it in the chat, but I don't think a lot of people caught on to that. Okay, yeah, so in the same sense, the programming in the helmet basically takes in music notation data, and it, instead of playing a sound, it turns on the light. So in the same sense, I would build the light system and a laser system. I definitely need, like, if you have a fog machine, in combination with a laser system, it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, we're talking about small, like really small venues. Like, this is bar open mic night. So the advantage of those, though, from what I can see, is some of these bars are located next to high schools, and that is basically my target demographic. So if I can make an impressive visual presentation, something people can snap videos off, right? Something people can pull up their Instagram accounts on their phones and just, you know, shoot videos, because you're not gonna record an audio track onto Instagram, because phone recording quality sounds like garbage, right? But it's the visual stuff that people go for Instagram for. So should I get a proper visual representation, I would be able to hopefully make an impression. That is basically my plan right now. And I've been looking into different pieces of very cheap hardware on eBay. You know, I actually still have the list pulled up here. So I have these things, which are basically they're laser presets. Very basic, very standard. Not a lot of control on them. You just kind of put them on the table and hang them on the wall. And like you can see, there's the size of the AC adapter. You can just see the size. It's like almost palm size. And same thing. And then I had the strobe light. I have one of these. And these things are actually pretty damn bright for like a $7 strobe light. With the free shipping, actually kind of turns out in my favor. Yeah, so I am trying to assemble a live performance kit without spending too much money. So where I don't put too much money, I'm gonna have to make up with some creative engineering. But this investment for the synth is definitely something that I gotta do. And that's coming out of like actual my own wallet. So I'm not using the campaign or whatever contributions I gathered for the development of this game. I'm not going to be using that to fund this project. That's just not what that was for. I need to edit the key commands here. Buttons. So, not erase trigger. I need left click. And there's only 2 buttons in this one. Hold on. I want to see what is just out of curiosity, what is relative coordinate? Because still absolute, like here's the mouse at the top corner, here's the mouse at the bottom corner. Usually when it says relative, it means I can kind of do like this with the mouse. But I don't think that's very good for like hand-eye coordination. Unless this is purely button related. Who knows? Okay, so I am once again taking this way too much like a whatchamacallit. Here, let me pick a nice cold color like this. And I'm kind of looking at this way too much like line art, which is basically no better than what I was doing before. So let me see if I can do this. I'll save this just in case I bork it up and it's not gonna work. And yeah, let's try to kind of paint this thing in. Maybe I'll just turn down the opacity there. Is there any way I can actually edit color? Let's see, enable airbrush mode. What is this? Probably not. Flow. Yeah, probably not a good idea. Unless what I want to do is actually position the respective piece on top and do the same thing I did here. And then kind of match the color a little bit. Let's see, so let's go over here and just have that. Actually, I need to go over here, and there's a few things that I haven't added. I have not added the two windows that are over here, which should actually be going up like this. In fact, this entire thing is actually just a little too short. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this, and I'll take this, put that over there, expand on the width just a little bit like that, perhaps. Actually, before I do that, canvas size, width increase by 20%, 10% each, whichever way, and 50% gray for the background. Now I can take this and scale that up along the vanishing point like that. Here we go. Okay, so Horrible, horrible lines. But anyways, I think I'm supposed to have the entrance over there to this piece. Okay, so I guess I should draw this from the background to the foreground. So let's pick a nice kind of dark color and do this. So let's just kind of paint the walls first, the ceiling, whatnot. Now I know that it has to kind of get brighter as it kind of gets to this area. Yes. Maybe not so much with okay, so at least I know that this entire thing has a background now. So I think I should be able to just use the faded brush for this, because now if I disable this, see, you can still see it. I have to redo this. Color, pick that color, and there. Now, if I disable the background, that's fine, and I should be able to kind of just kind of do this. Fade this sucker in place. Something like this. Yep, I see you. Okay, something like this, and just tone down on just the spread of this thing, just generally. Okay, so knowing this thing, I'm gonna have to kind of just add much more fade to the surrounding area. I'm sure there's a technique to this, to kind of arranging where everything has to go, or going from sketch to a fully painted piece without going into like cell shading or making the piece look too cell shaded. I'm sure the temporary lines will look better than the finished piece, but we won't know until I finish this. So Let's pick this, and let's kind of just, yeah, have at it. So what are you up to, Gizmo? What's the word? Is it the bird? Is the bird is the word? Huh. Let's see, where's the perspective? Shut up. Where's my perspective? The painting struggles. Having to paint something without making it look too washed up. You see, I really want to make this line straight. But that will happen. And that is not good. Oh, that's alright. Aha, see? Hard lines. That's not good. Okay, so if I take out the draft lines, oh yeah, that's right. Should probably get some of these lines in there. You're about to get off Fallout, or you're about to get off the stream? Because I don't require an undivided attention. Do whatever you want. No obligation. So that's that, and probably want to just kind of darken this area just a bit. What is qualified as productive in your opinion? Or, you know, whatever you're doing. Okay, so here we go. I probably want to just darken this area up a bit. Again, no idea what I'm doing. Just kind of trying to do this. I wonder if there's really a digital painting tutorial that's not basically a tutorial that goes, this is a brush, this is an erase tool, you can press E to pull up your erase tool. It's like, I know that. I need the painting techniques. That's what I need. I know that Control Q closes the application. I've made that mistake plenty of times to learn my lesson. Okay, so if I delete the draft, okay, so we're kind of, I think we kind of have a basic idea here. So I should be able to turn off both the perspective layer and the other layer. Right, well, you're kind of beating around the bush there. It's not being very specific about what you do. Unless you like an online cam model, then, you know, I'm not gonna pry. But, you know, just out of curiosity. Mm-hmm. So when you say you're going to be working on your skills, it's just skills. It's just, yeah, I'm just gonna, just kind of get my skills done. Just skills, unless you're like totally shitting me and you're just working on the skill tree in Fallout, which doesn't count. You cheeky bastard. Speaking of Fallout, I haven't done a Fallout stream in a long time. My Twitch channel's been getting kind of dry, but then again, computer's not really up to the task, apparently. It's very, very hard streaming at a decent frame rate and quality. Okay, so see, this is where not a sleight of hand. This is where a steady hand will be able to help me. But you see, with perspective, I was able to just kind of define which objects were in the room. With this, I can't, because I'm going to concentrate more on trying to make the objects appear right than to tell me what it is that I'm supposed to model. Even though I'd like to be able to draw and paint, I don't think I'm kind of serving the right purpose of making this art right now. This is very extremely brush size. This is very extremely useless. Besides looking all pretty. Yeah. Tiger Woods arrested on DUI charges. Huh. Thanks, Reddit, for letting me know that completely relevant piece of news in my life. Because I totally follow what Tiger Woods is up to. And I totally care about his DUI. Because, that's the kind of person I am. Actually expand this piece a little bit. Ooh, pretty, but totally useless. Like, this is basically just an empty room right now. There's absolutely nothing that I can pull from this image when I'm modeling this room. Absolutely nothing. So, me and my cousin went in the woods yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. To shoot some cans with the airsoft rifles. Or I should say airsoft rifle and the dinky little airsoft pistol. But that was fun. Nonetheless. Actually, he had more fun playing around with these throwing knives. And I mean, funny thing is, most of these purchases span like years. I mean, years way back. Probably when I was still in high school, and my friend and I we had jobs, and we were like, this looks kind of cool. You wanna buy that? No, we would both like pick. Oh, hey, this is like an airsoft rifle. It's like this fully aluminum, really like sturdily built airsoft rifle. We can take that and we can, like play with it. We figure it's like, okay, yeah, let's just save up and buy that. So my friend and I bought airsoft rifles, the SeaTac L96, and I have taken that airsoft rifle out to shoot stuff only twice in the 3-something years that I've owned it. Other than that, it's just kind of a keepsake piece. And yesterday was the second time that I took it out, and we went to the woods. Now, this is an airsoft rifle, and according to the Canadian standard, it's qualified as a sporting good. So, not something you need to own a gun license for. And any airsoft piece that is under 500 FPS, so that is the speed of the projectile, will count as a sporting good, a toy basically, as opposed to something you need to own a license for. But I had to sight in the scope, considering I haven't used it in a long time, and it's kind of very snugly sitting in the carrying case. So I was scoping the thing with the range from my driveway into my garage. So I've set up safety pieces, like cardboard boxes, just to catch the pellets. I needed to make 5 shots just to sight in the scope, so that you can't sight in the scope in the woods. You need a flat surface to position the rifle. in order to have steady aim. Because the way you sight in the scope is you shoot a pellet, and then you aim right dead center at a target sheet, and then you shoot a pellet, and then you see where the pellet landed on the sheet, and then you adjust your scope in order to compensate. So you adjust the scope to the hole in the sheet so that your rifle will be scoped in. And that's basically universal for any rifle. You use the 2 dials on the scope to do that. So yeah, it was scoping the thing in. People passing in the cars, so they're like, "Yo, man, what's going on here?" Yeah, fucking A. I'm sitting here scoping the thing in, and 6 cops show up, just like that. Just, I think, and my cousin said, yeah, I think like one of the cops was kind of driving by and he just kind of called it in. So, kind of doing his job. So, no complaints there. 6 cops roll by. They're like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I just need to scope in the rifle. So, went through the whole thing. Friendly conversation, kind of update myself on if there's anything I'm missing. For the most part, they say, yeah, no, you're right. You've got basically the general right idea. It's just some passerby got pissy and called it in as like a disturbance. And they say, oh, well, people calling in, it's basically they just call it as a disturbance. So, generally, nice people. So I just kind of, finished up, wrapped up, and went to the woods and shot some cans. And notice we had people pass by in the woods, and nobody bothered us. So, it's somebody, probably some libertarian mom going, oh, I can't have kids in this neighborhood with guns. You know what the funny thing is? Whoever called it in, they say, oh no, there's this dude standing around waving his, rifle, walking around and pointing his rifle anywhere. The whole time, the thing was pointed out into my garage. Literally, the entire time. It was sitting in the gun mount from the beginning when I put the gun case on the table, right up to the point when I took it out and put it in the gun mount. It was facing the garage. Oh no, this dude's waving his gun around. Oh. And, just as usual, they would make it sound way worse than what it actually is, so that, they just start causing shit. But anyways, all in all, we've spent an hour and something shooting cans in the woods. Fun as hell. And I'm pretty sure my friend hasn't taken out his rifle out in a very long time too, so considering it went actually really well, I'm going to actually call him and be like, yo man, our local woods, great place. We found this ravine where we hung up a string and hung up a bunch of cans on the string, so that when the pellet goes past the can, it hits the ground behind it. So it's kind of this little hill, and at the bottom of the hill we've set up, but it's a really densely wooded area. Fucking mosquitoes ate the living shit out of us though. So next time we need to bring some mosquito repellent, 1, and 2, I think next time we need to bring some foldable chairs to kind of position the rifles onto the chair. So we can kind of sit down and, shoot some targets and make it just a little bit more fun than it gets. These are heavy rifles. You get really tired holding them upwards all the time. All in all, great day. We ended up going, after that, to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Fun movie. And he left this morning. Family staying over. Anyways, yeah, so didn't really get a chance to do a stream yesterday, so just kind of catching up with relatives. Keeping them entertained. Funny thing is, yeah, he had more fun playing around with the throwing knives than he did with the rifle. There's a bit of a way in the rifle scope, so you kind of have to get used to where you position your chin on the mount, or on the chin stock on the mount, or sorry, chin rest on the stock. Otherwise, you know, your eye kind of wanders, and it was a stock scope that came with the rifle, so not the most top-notch scope, but I was able to actually zero it in fairly well, and there isn't a god-awful amount of spread on the rifle anyways. But this is like a tactical piece of hardware you would usually take to like airsoft competitions and whatnot. So yeah, lots of fun times. Can't argue. Yeah, there is a way to throwing the throwing knives, but like, let's see. Let me see if I can like quickly find it. So, throwing knives Canada. There's a specific site, knivezone.ca. I think that's the one. Yep, I remember this shitty looking like homemade website, but yep. And look at that, $23.99. Yep, throwing knives. This is the one that we, like, both my friend and I bought. $23.99. Right there. Canadian. Free shipping. Or I think it was like $5 shipping, but pretty reasonable. And, yeah. Man, my friend and I think we stopped kind of buying stupid shit after my friend wanted to buy lockpicks, and I'm like, I will never use lockpicks in my entire life. I'll probably at some point wish I knew how to do it, but I will like never use. It was like a $30 set of lockpicks, so I'm like, you know, I really don't want to spend my money on lockpicks. I'm probably never gonna use them. And I think at that point we kind of figured, okay, well, you know, guess not. And at that point we kind of stopped buying stupid stuff together. What else? He convinced me to spend $250 on the Warhammer 40k bundle. Like the actual board game. I bought a core set, or the battle pack, and I bought the Pathfinder set. And shit, man, I have not even played the game once. This has been almost 6 years now. I have not played that fucking board game once. Can't quite say that it's all wasted money, because it does sound like a fun game. I just can't really bring myself to read the lore book. Like, I went Tau Empire, so still have that battle set sitting on my shelf, half painted with my acrylic paints, which, you know, kind of didn't quite sit very well, but, you know, then again, This is my first set, so I'm not gonna complain too much. Yeah. I don't really like RTS games too much. Besides, like, Age of Empires and, like, Age of Mythology, and that's pretty much it. Those are all the RTS games I have ever played and probably I will ever play. Like, I try to play StarCraft. And yeah, didn't find it all too much fun. Because StarCraft is like a really fan-basey thing. It's like it's like RTS on steroids, or like RTS on crack cocaine. you gotta be either a crazy megalomaniac with extreme reflexes, or a Korean guy in order to play StarCraft. Not my favorite part. Not my favorite game. I think I covered this in one of my streams. I don't want to get into a game that I have to like spend fucking months upon months upon months of playing and polishing a skill in order to play that game. Like, fuck, man. I just started playing Witcher, the Assassin of Kings, and already I haven't even gotten through a tutorial yet. I fell asleep during the tutorial. Fucking, oh man, waiting, casting, brewing potions. Like, God, I know I have to do the tutorial, because then I'll be like lollygagging in the goddamn game thinking, why can't I fucking do any of this stuff? Right? How do I, like, which button do I block with? And I know I'm gonna have to do a tutorial, because tutorial is specifically made for people like me. Come on. Here we go. Fucking 250. Almost $300, man, after the Pathfinders on the core battle set. Like, I like a game where I don't have to think about how to, or I don't have to learn how to play the game. Fuck, I've been playing games for years. For more than a decade. Like, way more than a decade I've been playing games, and it's such a goddamn commitment. Excuse me. Yeah. But everybody talks so well about the Witcher series, so I figured, you know, I might as well. Might as well play it. I have, like, this is a Witcher for 360, so somehow I had a Ubisoft employee dig up, like, a used copy that had everything in it, like the 3 discs, the map, the guide. So, like, the original, it was like some sort of a Game of the Year edition. So that was kind of nice of him. And it was like $30, I think, for the entire lot. So, I guess I got my deal. I still have, like, the Hitman Master Collection that has Silent Assassin. It has Codename 47. It has Silent Assassin, Contracts, and Blood Money on one disc, and it was like this relaunch rendition of the Hitman series, still in a plastic wrap, because I played all those 3 games. I have all those games on PC, and I've played all those games on PC when they, you know, back when these games were relevant. But let's see. I have the entire Elder Scrolls collection, and this is a PC, but this is like a physical disc version. So like the entire Elder Scrolls collection. So we're talking like starting from the very first Elder Scrolls games up to Skyrim and everything with DLCs. So like all of your Elder Scrolls goodness. Still haven't opened it. It's still sitting on my shelf. And I feel like I'm never gonna open it. But it's nice to at least have an option. I'm not really much on like medieval games. They could have a great story, but probably the same reason why I haven't watched the Game of Thrones yet. Why I haven't I think Lord of the Rings is the only movie, like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit were the only movies that I really watched for, with enjoyment. Not really much of a medieval guy. And the only reason I actually finished watching the Lord of the Rings series is because I watched it as a kid. My dad took me to the theater, cinema, to watch it. And I kind of liked it, so it was pretty good. I think I liked it because of Gandalf, actually. I was like, ooh, a wizard! Whee! Yeah. Anyways, this is some very useless stuff I'm doing right now. I can't pull any information from this. Not what to model. Like, this is maybe about maybe like 30 minutes of 3D modeling here, which is pretty much nothing. It amounts to nothing. See, this is why digital painting, I would be able to use digital painting for making concept art only once I've learned digital painting to the full extent. Right now, a lot of this stuff is experimenting and fixing mistakes and just long and useless process. And I really don't like how volatile this painting is, because like all it takes is for me to be drawing this line and slip, and there goes, that, and that. And thank God it's a digital medium when you can undo stuff. This is useless. Also, these windows are completely wrong. These are the wrong style of windows. See, just like that, all gone. All gone, all that work. The window style I do need is like this. And let me see the scale here. So 3 windows with a rounded top. Like this. And they have crossbars in the middle. Like that, I think. Just a little bit higher. There we go. Okay, fine. Just leave it as that. And I'm going to turn down the hardness and kind of add a bit of a glow. Hey. Oh, another reason. That should be good. Give me my perspective lines so that I may draw this light properly. See, I find a lot of this stuff is very washed up due to the brush, but I don't know how to do this otherwise. Yeah. Kind of want to play Dark Souls. Not sure, but I know that that's a commitment that will last for a little while, and I don't really have that kind of time. Okay, well, I should stop this here. Yeah. There's really no sense in continuing this piece. At least not in this style. I'd have to go back to doing perspective. Get rid of that. See, I can't take anything from this image. It's useless. It is useless because I am painting it. And I guess I was... Here, let me try something. So I'm gonna do this. Color... Yeah. Let me do something like this. New layer. Color. Yes. And I'm gonna take white. And I'm gonna take this brush. Let me just at least enable this piece. Yeah, I am much better in perspective with cell shading than I am at this bullshit. This is just so general. Just this too much blurriness going on. And it's the same problem I had with the other piece. Power plant exterior. That's just something I drew just for the shits of it. Like, this is very blurry, which sort of serves the purpose for making like lens blur for things being out of focus. Not very handy in this setting. And that's, yes, that is because I'm using a rough a coarse brush. You can't, oh, not a coarse brush, a very blurred shade brush. So you can't really tell much. The problem is that if I start using a, wow, this almost kind of looks like it's glass, made out of glass, which would still make for an interesting looking piece, but it's not useful for the Wayholm project. Come on, pick the brush. What if I just go for the coarse brush? Alright, fuck it. I'll save this piece as just something else. And I'll do this again as a perspective piece. Just gotta grab a break for a second. And just have YouTube dial this as a separate video.